like imported wines from other European countries in France?
But I think the most popular foreign wine in France would be Prosecco. Prosecco is pretty popular because Prosecco is a sparkling wine from Italy, as you know. It's light, it's fruity, it's flowery, it's simple, it's affordable. You can mix it with cocktail. The Italian marketeers have been very good at making cocktail based on Prosecco. So Prosecco probably would be the number one foreign wine being drunk in France. But as you know, the French tend to drink French. It's very, very difficult to export wine into France and sell it. Even German wine, Spanish wines, Italian wines, yes, some will sell to a segment of the market that is interested in discovering wines from beyond their own borders. But once again, the larger public is going to stick to French wine. The appeal of foreign wines can be, number one, lower price, and sometimes production costs are lower. Prosecco is much cheaper than champagne. And the younger generation, especially students who have less money, they'll go for the cheaper drink. So Prosecco has a hang on that market right then. People who can afford to buy any wine they want are not going to be attracted to a product by the price. They're going to be attracted to the product by its quality, its specificity, its terroir element. So there are a few foreign appellations. Barolo is one, Barbaresco in Italy, in Spain, Ribera del Duero, and some wines from the Rioja that are getting attraction because of their rising prestige. Okay, the wines from the Napa Valley, a little bit too, but less than the Tempranillos from Spain or the Nebbiolos from Italy that have been gaining of late. But as a rule, French people having all kinds of wines at their disposal from the domestic production, they will tend to stick to those French wines.
Okay. How is the wine industry in France moving towards changing the market trends or attracting more generations or attracting more consumers in the wine industry?
It's a very good question. There are two ways. Either you go to the top or either you go through the bottom. Number one, if you try to attract younger generation, you have to be trendy. So you have to put your wine in areas where that younger generation is. Going to sports events and doing some sponsoring of the sort. Going to music festivals and trying to attract that crowd. If you go to the other end, you try to appeal to the connoisseur and you try to appeal to producing a better wine or a more specific wine because of terroir qualities or because of innovative vinification processes and so forth, or because of an interest also in forgotten grapes. You know, you're doing something extremely original in South Korea by doing hybrids. Well, in France, that we have thousands of grapes, but everybody has been making Cabernet Sauvignon. So now you find a new generation that tries to revive forgotten grapes or overlooked grapes and make wine either as a blend, including those grapes, or as a single varietal, and trying to attract a segment of the market that is attracted to more original products. However, that niche is a tiny one in terms of market potential, because you are talking to people who are very much interested in the product, who are connoisseur, and who represent a very, very tiny fragment of the general market. So the more common approach is to try for winemakers to simply invest in events where young people are and are looking for something fun. Unfortunately, they have a lot to learn from the beer people and the spirit people and the food and beverage people that sell sodas, soft drinks, as they're called in English, because those are all over the market already, and wine is not there. The French are extremely bad at selling their own product, meaning, as you know, France is still the #1 player today in the world of wine. When you look at the market value of what is produced around the world, France is #1. And it's way above any other country. I think Italy comes in at #2, and there's a gap between the value of French wine and the value of Italian wine, because there's a much higher proportion of high-end wine being produced in France. But wine contains alcohol, and abuse of alcohol is dangerous, as everyone knows. And so in France, we have anti-alcohol lobby that refuses to make a difference between alcohol from beer, alcohol from spirits, and alcohol from wine. And therefore, it is lumping everything in the same very negative presentation. And it's actually very difficult in France to promote wine, because rules and regulations keep you from advertising in favor of a product that some people consider dangerous. And so it's a major paradox that this is a product that we are very good at making. It's a major export of France. It's a major carrier of image of what the French are like across the world, but we can't even sell it to our own people. And that's very French in many ways. The French are very good at shooting themselves in the foot, and wine is one example of that.
How are the winemakers reacting to the government? Are they doing something against the government issues? Give me a simple.
The winemakers are smart. They're selling their wine to South Korea and others.
Okay.
They're exporting. The best wines are leaving our country. They're being drunk in the US, in Japan, in China, and maybe in South Korea, I hope, as well. Not Russia at the moment for other reasons, as we unfortunately know. But no, the best wines are leaving. The best wines are sold in England, sometimes Germany, sometimes Belgium, the US, of course. The US is the #1 market, and the US is a very high-end market. The average price of a bottle of wine in the US is about 3-4 times what it is in France. So producers, you can't sell to the French people. Well, we'll sell to others. And we are in a global economy. And the people who innovate, sometimes they also innovate abroad. I mean, the American market is a very interesting one in that instance, because Americans are very much into innovation. They like to taste what's new. They always like to be different. They're always looking forward to the future. And anytime you invent something or you create something, the French would kind of look down on you and say, why can't you just do things like everybody else does? In the US, say, well, that's new, that's original, that's interesting, fantastic, I want to try. So the more innovative wines find their way abroad, maybe to you before they get to me.